Hello everyone, Memory here. This is an updated and more refined version of my previous Lazy Mint currency farming strategy. That video will be down in the description if you want more details. Now, because I've received a lot of different suggestions on different possibilities to improve on the tree, so I did more tests with all the strategies that I think has potentials and also fits my lazy and brainless playstyle. After all the tests, I came up with a bare bone version of the tree that I would 100% go for, which costs 107 points out of 128, and also 3 different strategies that can be done using the rest of the points. So let's start with briefly going through the bare bone version of the tree for those of you who haven't watched my previous video, just so that we're on the same page here. The whole idea of this strategy is either farming currencies or farming things that can be very easily be converted into currencies. It also has to be as self-sustainable as possible. This is because we want to reduce the time spent on thinking, converting, and buying materials so we can spend more times on farming. And at the same time, it's also easier for the newer players to follow. So I've picked Strongbox, Harbingers, Shrines, Tormented Spirits, and the new boss altar. The reason we get Strongbox and Harbingers is because the drops from them are generally very easy to deal with. The mechanic is very simple and fast to do. The position of the passives for both of them are not too far apart, and they can be paired with pretty much any strategies. The reason I picked Shrine is because it gives us a chance to get Covetous Shrine, which increases quantity and rarity. It also adds a lot of monster packs into the map, which we can pair that with the Spoil of War passive and get even more currency drop per map. As for the Tormented Spirit, it gives 90% increased quantity to anything that are touched or possessed by them. This is very powerful, especially the price for the Tormented Spirit scarabs are very cheap. Finally, the new Searing Exalt and Eater of World altars are also very lucrative. With just 1 or 2 increased scarab or currency altars, you will very likely to double your profit per map. And also, these 2 passives group will increase the pack size of your map by a total 40%, as long as your map has any kind of influence on them, which also translates to even more profit per map. With that out of the way, let's dive into the 3 different strategies that can be done using the rest of the points we have. The first one is the main reason why I want to make this video, and that is the incursions. We take 3 out of the 4 incursion circles on the tree, reroute a little bit in the middle section over here, putting us at 119 points. If you have the extra points, you can get the map item Strongbox passive up here, and also filling up the small passives for Harbingers as well. So what makes incursions something worth taking? Well, because it makes creating the corrupting altars a lot easier. For those of you who doesn't know how incursion system works, don't worry, because I didn't either until I had to make the video on it about a week ago. And the only thing you need to know to do the strategy is how to make the level 3 corruption altar. First thing you want to do is select the incursion or the Alva mission on the map device, which I assume many people have accumulated quite a bit of them and never bothered to use them till this point. After that, you're going to be able to change 3 incursion rooms per map. All you need to do in these rooms is always kill the room changing guy, except when you see you are in the room that says corruption on it. You then kill the room leveling up guy because you want to level the corruption room to level 3, so that after you've done 12 rooms, you're able to transform the whole map into a scroll that you can sell. Any scroll that has a level 3 corruption room sells for around 1 Exalt at the moment. Also, a level 3 gem room sells for half an Exalt. On top of that, the loot you get at the end of each room is usually not too bad, and it doesn't take too long to complete 1 room as well. You do have to make sure the room is connected and reachable from the entrance. But as long as you always open all the bottom ones when you have the chance and open all the top ones if all the bottom ones are opened, the corruption room should always be open. Now you have 12 chances per incursion to both try and make the corruption room appear on the map and level it up to level 3. Without the passives, the worst case scenario is you need to first RNG roll the corruption room onto the map and then land on it 3 more times to make a level 3 room. So the maximum number of times you have to land on the corruption room is 4 times. However, with the Incursion Atlas passive, you have a 40% of leveling the room twice if you kill the leveling guy, and you have a 100% chance to level the room once if you kill the room changing guy. This means the maximum number of time you need to land on the corruption room is reduced from 4 to 3, which is a huge increase on the chance of getting the level 3 corruption room. And if you want to pay a little bit more attention to details, there is also a room that level up adjacent room by 1 level, which you do also want to keep if it appears next to your corruption room, and it will further increase your chance of making a level 3 corruption room. One more thing as to why this method is good is the fact that everyone has a limited number of incursion missions, so it is less likely for the price to drop too much if everyone is doing it. And of course, that is also a downside because after you use up all the incursion missions, the passives will no longer be valuable, which is why I organized 2 other strategies. The second strategy is a bit more bossing focused. We take the chance to duplicate map boss passive over here, which also gives us extra chance to drop currencies. We take the chance to drop Conqueror map from bosses over here, since each of those maps are around 20 to 30 chaos apiece. We then take the chance for boss to be guarded by 2 rogue exiles, and it is paired with the passive that makes all rogue exiles possessed by tormented spirit, since our other tormented spirits passives gives us 90% increased quantity to anything that are possessed. This will make the boss extra difficult to deal with, but at the same time has a high chance of giving us around an extra 20 to 30 chaos worth of loot per map. You can also get the passives that gives you chance to have 20 extra rogue exiles appear on the map, but I think 8% chance is a bit too low, so I rather put extra points on harbingers or something else. If you do have maximum Atlas point, you can also get the 10% chance of double progress to get the Infinite Hunger invitation, but since I think most people don't have that, so I left that empty. The third and final strategy for this video is my original strategy, and that is grabbing these 2 Abyss passives here and here. Pairing that with Shaping the Valley passive, it will introduce a stupid amount of extra monsters into the map, while giving us increased quantity and rarity when we activate Fortune Favors the Brave on the map device, which gives us a very stable increase of average loot per map. And since this strategy doesn't take too much extra points to do, you can also take the passives that duplicates map items from Strongbox over here, and filling up the missing small harbingers and Strongbox passives as well. This strategy requires the least amount of investments to do well, since you are utilizing both Abyss and Tormented Spirit scarabs, which are both one of the cheapest scarabs on the market at the moment. The gilded version of these scarabs are the same price as the rusted version of Strongbox and Harbingers. However, some people might not like it, since it does lock you in with choosing Fortune Favors the Brave, which might give you some bad crafts. For example, the Beyond is probably the least favorite one for most people. They are hard to deal with and they never seems to drop anything good, especially when this strategy is focused on packing so many monsters into the map. You might have a high chance of dying from multiple Beyond bosses all spawning at the same time. My character can deal with them quite easily, so I don't have that problem. However, if you can't deal with the Beyond bosses, you can just choose a bossing strategy, or spec into something easier, like Essence or even Smuggler's Caches. Now obviously you can also choose other mechanics that you enjoy in farming, but I ended up picking these ones because they are quick mechanics that gives decent rewards and requires less thinking as well. For example, the reason why I didn't pick Essence is because the price for Essence fluctuates a lot. It is not that easy to sell and I don't really use them for myself as well. As for Legion, my build is not good enough to always fully clear them, And also the price for emblems are not as high in this league as well. So I think it's going to give me less value compared to other mechanics. I have tried out most of the mechanics on this tree at this point that are reachable from the bare bone version of the tree, and these 3 strategies are the ones that I personally think gives the most value. Obviously, I haven't done a large sample collection and such, so I can very much be wrong with some of them. However, based on the feedbacks from my last video, plus my own experience, these strategies shouldn't be too bad as well. So in conclusion, I recommend everyone to try out the incursion tree if you do still have incursion missions left on your map device. And if you ran out of incursion missions, pick the bossing tree if you have a fast mapper, because you will be seeing more bosses and therefore making the strategy more valuable. If you have a slow build, use the Abyss strategy, because since you're going to spend more time on a map than those zoom builds, you might as well juice up the map with more monsters to make the most out of the time you spend in a map. Anyways, that's it for today. Subscribe for extra mirror drop chance. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.